Record. Okay, well, good morning, everybody. My name is Craig Blanchette, and I'm an optimal health coach with Take Shape for Life, and I'm part of Tim Cox's coaching group. And so it's really exciting, really, to have this opportunity to speak to you through this medium of a video conference. So we are national this year or this time, and so we have people coming from all across the country that haven't been able to take advantage of some of the events and the local trainings that we do with Tim Cox's group. And so a couple things that I'd love for you to think about is I've got a basic way to take notes when I come to events. What I think about it, I'm trying to basically capture one or two breakthroughs. And when we go to an environment like this, you can't take it all in, but if you can come away with one or two breakthroughs, man, it's exciting. You can do it. And that's what we're looking for. And so what I do is I have a piece of paper sitting in front of me with a pen. You probably have seen these things. They're non-digital and they work really good. And I'll be basically taking notes. And then if something comes along that's a big highlight, that's sort of a super note, I'll put a little asterisk next to it. And then if somebody says something that triggers an action item, like, oh, I have to do that, or I should tell them about that, or something like that, I put a little checkbox next to it. And then when I go back and look at my notes later, I'll have stars, which are highlights, and boxes, which are action points. And so then I can pretty much glean the highlights and the action items from the training we just had. So I'd encourage you with those kinds of things. For all of you that are joining on, you do have the ability to chat in the chat window. It's at the bottom, and we'll get started. We're going to start off this morning with a video, and then we have a number of guests. Tim Cox is going to be with us, of course. We have Sam Prestenbach from Louisiana that's going to be joining us. And then Kelly Critzer and Sherry Brown are going to be sharing. Bill Ritchie is with us today, as well as Nancy Pettit and Alex McMillan. And so that's the lineup for today, and we're excited to get started. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and play a quick video, and then we'll get to it.
This season is about families coming together, but that presented a problem for a young woman in California. Steve Hartman tells us how she solved it for herself and many others on the road.
At William Jessup University near Sacramento, there's a junior who seems to have it all. Jackie Turner has straight A's,
what y'all up to?
good friends, and a big heart.
You can do it.
She works part-time as a tutor and eventually wants a career helping troubled kids. Her future is definitely bright, but the clouds still roll in every December.
This time of year is hard. Everyone's talking about their cousins, their families, all the things that make up Christmas.
Jackie says she doesn't have any of that, and never did.
Tell me some of your pleasant memories of childhood.
Okay.
None?
I remember being locked up and locked in rooms, and I remember getting beaten for stealing food.
Born to a mother she never met and a dad she wished she hadn't, Jackie says she was abused, neglected, and starved.
Very good.
She's been able to move on, for 11 months out of the year at least. But that 12th has always posed a problem, which is why this year she decided to take action.
This hurting, you're tired of it, what are you going to do? And I was like, Craigslist.
That's right. She said Craigslist. Where most people go to find a new apartment or used car, Jackie went looking for a happier holiday. Specifically, her classified said, I want to rent a mom and dad.
Maybe for a couple of hours, just be like the light of their life for that moment.
You were going to pay?
Yeah, $8 just to sit, which for a college student is affordable.
She got dozens of responses, about half from parents who wanted to help, for free of course, and about half from other young people who felt the same way she did.
people are hurting and broken, and like we need each other. We need to be loving people, and I think that's what tonight's about.
Jackie held a meeting for all the people who contacted her. The purpose? To pair up the needy with the needed, to make sure no one in this room feels alone this holiday season.
This matters.
Jackie made about a half a dozen matches that night, including one for herself.
Thank you.
A woman from University Student Services named Anita Hermsmeyer.
Oh my gosh. Found my mentor.
Jackie went into this thinking she wanted to rent a family.
Thank you, Anita.
You're welcome.
Now, she's creating them. December's looking brighter already. Steve Hartman on the road near Sacramento.
Right. So we have, hopefully that spoke to you, and I want to introduce Tim Cox, a global director with Take Shape for Life and one of my good buddies. And so take it, Tim.
Well, Craig, thank you for allowing us to use this great technology and hosting this today. Just wanted to welcome everybody. And for those of you viewing live, thank you for taking the time. And for those of you that are going to be watching on video later, we just really believe this day is going to be very powerful as you set up this new year. One of the reasons why we wanted to share that video with you today is because a couple key points that really hit me from watching that. 11 months of the year, probably most of the 12 months, you would look at that young woman and you would say, gosh, she's got it all together. She's doing well. She's a straight A student. She's mentoring other people. Her life is just, gosh, what a great life. But you wouldn't know that how desperately bad she was hurting, and her life wasn't really the way she wanted it to be. And I think one of the most important things that we do in Take Shape for Life is that we bring a sense of community and purpose, and we change the life of another person by really helping them get healthy, by creating a link to a person that truly cares, sincerely cares. And one of the things that we get to do in Take Shape together in this kind of a community is empower each other. There are so many tools and resources that we have to use, but it's really not, those things are awesome, and we need to be engaged and collect in those things. But sometimes I think what really is important is that we open our mouth and start sharing with other people. And, you know, if you could think about this today, what kind of life do you want? Where are you hurting? What would you like to improve upon? How would you like to impact your community? And really, often I think it's what we have in our hands that will allow us to do that. We can change the quality and quantity of someone's life. We can build a team that impacts community and ripples across the United States. And that's what we're about here today. Just a wonderful group of people coming together to empower each other to make a difference in the life of someone else. And a couple things that I thought were interesting about that video. Out of her pain, out of her loss, out of her hurt, she took action. She was trying to figure out how to solve something in her own life. And yet what happened was she brought a community of people together, people that wanted to help other people but didn't know how, people that were hurting, looking to be helped and didn't know anybody. And she took her pain, she took the thing that she was looking for, and she reached out and took action. She took a step. And can you imagine being in that room when all those people came together on that day? And I think really, in essence, that's what we're going to do today. And I would encourage you to just be engaged and kind of do some self-assessment while we're sharing together. And it's really my pleasure now to get to introduce Sam Prestenbach. She's from Mandeville, Louisiana. I had the pleasure of meeting her earlier this year. She's just really a vibrant woman with a great story in the fitness industry, a mother, a wife, just really impacting community. And I'm really looking forward to hearing from you, Sam.
Sorry about that. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be on this webinar with everybody, as usual, my TSFL family. You know, before TSFL, well, let me first say, you know, I think my whole life has actually been made up of before and afters. And when I mean by that is that, you know, I've had a vision of my life for a very long time, like I'm sure everybody else here does. from a childhood, we have a vision of what we're going to do, what we're going to be like, what we're going to look like, how life is just going to kind of unfold for us. And I don't know about any of you, but at a certain point when I looked at my life and I compared it to the vision I had, it just didn't match up. And it was a really harsh confrontation, even at a point when most people would have looked at me and said, well, geez, gosh, she's got it all. She's a successful personal trainer, one of the most well-known in the area. She's got 2 beautiful daughters, a beautiful home, a thriving business, a handsome husband. I mean, it truly looked like I had it all. But inside, I knew that there was just still so many missing pieces to my puzzle. And what it broke down to was honestly, it was so many things. It wasn't just me as a fitness professional, me as a mom or a wife or my own health. It was everything. Everything was missing something. From me as a personal trainer, struggling with body dysmorphia. I'd look at myself and just would be disgusted still. No matter what weight or body fat percentage I was never enough. As a mom, I was never enough. There was always something more that I felt like I should be doing. Like, for instance, not training 60 hours a week, but being with my daughters, whom I loved, and, being in the kitchen and cooking for my husband when he came home at night. There was just so many elements, even on the leadership level, looking at my role as a trainer. Trainers, sometimes we puff up our chest to the fact that we pretty much tell people what to do. They come to me and say, how do I lose this weight? And we hand them a meal plan. I say, do this, do 10 push-ups, and then go do 30 minutes of cardio. And it's all this, pointing. And then I looked at my employees who honestly, I don't think they ever listened to me. So, on the outside, it looked like I had everything, but inside there was so much, it was basically just kind of falling apart. And that's not how I envisioned my life. And honestly, at that point when I realized that things just did not add up for me, that there was more that I wanted and I needed, and more that I wanted to do for people, for my children, for my husband, for myself, I didn't know how. It was like, okay, so, you have that confrontation of your life where you're like, okay, this is not how it's supposed to be, but what do I do? So, there's a big leap of faith here. When you start searching for more, I think, with anything, right? With your health or, whatever goal you might have. So, everything basically led me to where I am today. It's amazing. You have to just believe, honestly. And it all started with me just believing that if I wanted to change, I could. When I look back, I see that my life was operated based on the things that I did not want to do to get to where I wanted to be. I did not want to speak in front of people. I did not want to confront my fear of public speaking, my fear of inadequacy or failure. And honestly, when I found mentorship is when things turned around for me and realized that I did not have to do everything on my own. I didn't have to hide. I remember the first national convention I went to, and I was taken aback. I had never seen people get on stage and cry. I'd never seen people be so honest, and I'd never seen anybody reach their hand out and say, excuse me, if you want this, there's a way. And it's so powerful to know that when you set goals, if you have the right things and the foundation to lean on, it can come true. And so fast forward to today, when I look at myself as a mom, most importantly, my most God-given gift, I'm with my children almost all the time. And if they're at school, I'm at home helping people. I'm cooking while I'm talking to people and lifting them up. I'm no more, I don't tell people what to do, but I have the skills to empower them. I have those skills as a personal trainer. Most importantly, when I thought that I just could not be a leader, this has uncovered my skills to show people through me doing. Most importantly, I did not know that, but through me doing, that they could do what I do and what so many others have done. It's been very powerful to know that we have a foundation to create the dream. And so many of us are told, you can't have that dream. So at a point when I was lost, I now have a light, a beacon in this world to show us the way. So that's a little bit of my story.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sam. That's I love your story, and I love when it becomes personal, because that's what we do. This is not just some kind of crazy system that we're trying to do. This is actually people's lives we're talking about, not just people's lives that we're helping, but our own lives too. And so that's awesome. And so I want to introduce Kelly Critzer and Sherry Brown now, and they're going to be talking about their topic is would and should and want power versus need power. And so we'll make sure that they're unmuted and ready to go. And you guys, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Craig. It's really, really interesting. Just much like what Sam had said, and especially Jackie in that video. All those things took place because they wanted to create something. By and large, in so many aspects of our life, we come from this place of, man, I need to, I got to, I ought to. It's like we all had a job in our life that, by golly, I have to do this job because it was the means to an end. It wasn't something that we wanted to do. And you'll find that most people that are in that place, when they're attending that occupation all day long, there's complaining. And the people around them are complaining because, you know what, they're in that same place as well. I can't remember a time for myself, and I'm sure much of you are just like this as well, where you did something that you really, really wanted to do, and you complained about doing it every time you were in that action. It just simply doesn't happen. So when we're actually pushed into got to, need to, ought to, have to, usually that leads to procrastination. It leads to putting things off. It really doesn't put us really in action until we get to that place of, man, I really want to. And that leads me to a conversation that I had with a coach on my team, Sherry Brown. About a week ago, we sat down and, my goodness, it was a magnificent conversation. And Sherry, who's been a coach for a long time on the team here and has helped quite a few people get healthy. Sherry, I'd love for you to share a little bit of that conversation that we had.
Sure, I'd love to. Kelly and I were talking, and I found myself saying, I need to work more. I need to contact my clients more often. I need to check my email more often, or whatever it was that I needed to do. I found myself saying need. And Kelly stopped me. And actually, Kelly, that conversation was maybe more like a month ago, but we met a week ago. And I reported back to him that I have really changed and caught myself when I say need, and I've turned it into want. And we discussed that nothing will ever happen until you want it to happen, because when you need it to happen, it's going to oscillate. We've heard that so many times, and it's like that diet. We do it because the doctor says we should, and then we gain that weight back because we did it for the wrong reason. But I want to remind everybody, Dr. Anderson drives this home with us. You've heard him talk about being intrinsically motivated, but in his book, Discover Your Optimal Health, he has that entire chapter 6 on the should to would. And should is when we get that you should do this, you should change your health for all those reasons outside of us. And then there's the would, which is the will. That's what the core meaning of would is, will. And that's when we are intrinsically motivated and we do it because we really want to. And when we want to, that's when it sticks. And as coaches, that's one thing that we do is when we check in with our clients, we want to make sure that they're doing it for the right reason, the want, and not because they need to. And that is so important. And so Dr. A also talks about those two. He calls it Force 1 and Force 2. And I can't encourage you enough to read that, chapter 6. Also, I want to share with you a book that I started reading. It's called Drive. and it's about, the author is Daniel Pink. And Malcolm Gladwell also kind of has a little blurb here. He promotes this book as a great read, but drive is about what motivates us. So we have that intrinsic, well, we have the motivation to eat, sleep, and all of that. Then we have that's within. We have the opposite of that, which is without. But then there's that piece of us that wants to do it just because. And that's the part that we need to discover. And this book is phenomenal. Also, if you want to check out my Facebook, I posted a beautiful story about a need and want. It's a friend of mine in Bend, her name is Stephanie, and she was at her yoga boot camp, and she challenged herself to jump onto these tires. Anyway, after a little while, she achieved that goal because she wanted to, not because she needed to. And I would encourage you to check that out. So, and you know, it's all about the mindset. Wouldn't you agree, Kelly?
You know, absolutely. And the mindset is so critical. You know, largely we come to these conclusions of needing to, ought to, have to, usually because we can't seem to find our way out of trying to control the outcome of every situation, whether it's talking with someone or even if it's doing something. This is what we have in our idea of how it's going to be. Well, I can surely share with you that Jackie in that video, she had no idea that was going to be the outcome for her. She had just the idea. So if we didn't try to control that outcome and just went with, I want to, magnificent things are going to happen. And the mindset is so huge. And I think that here we are in Take Shape for Life. We all should have so much gratitude for what it is that we have to offer and the things that we can actually share and give to others. And I can tell you that when you have gratitude, you know, it for sure will change your attitude. And we're blessed to share with people. And if we can create in our own mind, how should I say, like an organization within our own mind of all these places of, man, you know what, I want to do this and I want to do that. Really what that's going to lead to is a platform of hope that you can share with other people. And when you have that platform of hope, you're going to be completely unstoppable in so many aspects in not only in your personal life, but also within Take Shape for Life. And, you know, I know in continuing this idea and others, a good friend of mine in Bill Ritchie, you know, formerly a professor in business administration and a pastor of 27 plus years. Bill, I'm really excited to hear this. My goodness, the correlation between football and coaching.
Yeah, there is actually. Believe it or not, there is a big correlation. We are in football season, and I just have been thinking a lot about it because we're at the point where we're in the bowl games are up and everybody's worked like crazy to get to where they are at this point in time. Now it's all on the line as to who's going to win. And the Huskies won last night. Yes. Had to watch that game. For those of us Washingtonians, we're into these things. And what you're seeing now is the players and the coaches giving the very best they've got. There's a whole lot we can learn from football, and it really applies now, especially in this season, as well as other sports. I played a lot of football when I was a kid growing up, and there was a lot of stuff I learned for that. We got to the semifinals, to the final state championship kind of stuff, and so we played, and we played hard. We worked out in the summer, getting ready for the fall. When fall came, we'd practice every day, and it was critical that we knew our positions, that we got to the point where every week as we practiced, the plays would become automatic. If a certain play was called, I was a center. I knew once I snapped that ball, whether I was going to move to the right, I was going to move to the left, I was going to move down, I was going to move out, I was going to move out, I was going to move back. I had to know that personally so that it would be a natural thing to be able to do. Now, we also all knew that our coach knew what was going on far better than we did. And so we had to listen to him and what he told us to do. We knew our assignments. We knew it was a team game and that it wasn't about us, it was about our team. And we knew that we had to work every single day at getting better and better so that the stuff we did came naturally. So a specific play was called, bang, good things happen. And we had to do what we were asked to do, whether we liked it or not. So if an in, for instance, was told he was going to do a down and out pattern, he knew he would run 5 yards straight ahead and then he'd cut to the left or to the right, whichever end he was. And he knew that the quarterback was going to sail that ball over his left shoulder or over his right shoulder. He just had to trust it was all going to happen. And, assuming he did it right, he'd catch the ball and good things would go on. Now, if he didn't, if he was supposed to go to the left and went to the right, the ball could get intercepted or bad things would happen. So as long as we did what we were supposed to do, we moved toward the goal. Now, this may seem crazy, but I think there are some takeaways of this for TSFL. First of all, both as clients and as coaches, we are all on the same team. Nobody is any more of a player than we are. Nobody is any less of a player than we are. We all have strengths. We all have weaknesses. Sometimes we feel like Sam was talking about and Jackie was talking about, that maybe we're the only one who feels this way about one thing or another. No, that's just everybody. And what's important is that we not try to be somebody else. We cover our weaknesses, but we really build on our strengths. We don't worry about who we aren't. We just develop who we are. The second thing is that we play as a team. That is to say, we work as a team. None of us does his own thing. It doesn't work well. That's why I love this. I'm looking at my screen right now and I've got gallery view on. I'm seeing all these faces and smiling and waves and stuff. I love this. This is our community. And this is what makes every one of us stronger. I once remember Lucy saying to Charlie Brown, "You see this hand, Charlie, these 5 fingers? Apart they are nothing, but together they form a weapon awesome to behold." And that's us together. We're a team, and this is a team sport. When you see Lone Rangers, either as clients or as coaches, it doesn't end up working well. And so we always need to remember that. Third thing is we run the play our coaches know are going to work. We don't reinvent the wheel. We don't have to do that. We don't wing it. We don't run our own plays. Oh, I know they said go out 5 and then to the left. I'm just going to walk backwards. We don't do that stuff. We even if we think we know better, we don't go there. I can tell you this, across the years, I have been involved in more learning and seminars and teaching them and all the rest than I could begin to remember. And I learned something from every one of you every day. Everybody has good stuff to bring to the table, and we just need to be open to receiving that. But our coaches, Dr. Anderson, Dan Bell, and so on, they understand how the game is played. And so that's why the leadership calls and all those things are terribly important. Fourth thing is we put ourselves into a position to move forward. We don't assume that we're never going to get ahead. We're never going to make progress. We put ourselves in a position to move forward by following the game plan day by day by day. Plan our work, we work our plan. That's what the structural tension is. That's what the success tracker is. We just kind of put this system together and we just work the system. Ultimately, it will work. The fifth and last thing is, even when we're thrown for a loss, we get up and get going again. It's going to happen. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Yeah, you might get dropped for a few yards. Yeah, you might only make half a yard, but you know what? Sooner or later, you're going to make a touchdown. Sooner or later, if you're doing the right thing with everything you have, it's all going to come together. Now, here we are on the cusp of a new year, and it's time for a new decision. You are on the field. I am on the field. The calls are being made as to what it is we're going to do. And we have folks to talk to. We have connections to make. We have people to help gain health, to help find freedom, to live the life that they really desire to live. All we need to do is play our position. We're in the game, so let's go for it and get America healthy together. Now, it's my privilege to be able to introduce to you a good friend, an amazing person. Certainly, she has been very successful in Take Shape for Life. She's legendary, at least in my mind. Nancy Pettit, who hosts the Habits of Health call and has for years. She knows more than all of us put together about this stuff, and I'm just so excited to pass the ball to Nancy.
Thanks so much, Bill. I really appreciate your talk today, and I'm really glad that I'm on your team. It's great to be on a winning team, isn't it? You know, the last few days I've been hanging out with my grandkids and rummaging around in the toy box, and we pulled out their Transformers. Maybe you've seen these kind of toys. Maybe they're part of your past. And Transformers are mechanical, kind of robotic beings from Cybertron, and they have the ability to change their outward appearance. And there's kind of like these two warring factions that are going on. Autobots that are underneath the, whoops, I guess I had my Optimus Prime upside down, but Optimus Prime is the leader of the Autobots. And then there is da-na-na-na, Megatron. He's the enemy of all things good. And well, they were on a mission to seek a new power source. They were flying around in outer space. The Decepticons hijacked the good guys. And the space shuttle had this conflict going on, and they eventually crash land on planet Earth, and then the struggle continues. Well, you know, I was thinking about these in my hand here as I was looking at these two Transformers. I thought about the conflicts that were going on in my own life, my own inner life, my battles with food and obesity, and ultimately having my health hijacked. And before Take Shape for Life, I call the point when Take Shape for Life came into my life, TSFL really stands for Transformed, Successful, Fabulous Lives to me. But before Take Shape for Life, I guess if you could have named me one of the Transformer names, I would have to be known as Obesitron. I automatically ate whatever I happened to see, whatever I happened to smell and desire. And over time, I began to deceive myself about my state of health. It was like living as a Decepticon. And I looked at those two simple toys, and they kind of represented, I saw Optimus Prime as optimal Prime. And then I looked at Megatron as Negatron. And in fact, I talked to my grandsons a lot about being, having the mindset of being optimal Prime, having an optimistic viewpoint, avoiding the Negatron, the negative attitude. Well, Negatron depicted my former state of being, overweight, overloaded, and overwhelmed. So I could really relate to your story, Sam, as you were sharing in the beginning. You know, for many years, I've been using the wrong strategy to get rid of obesitron. And that is until a friend introduced me to Take Shape for Life. And one of the great things about Take Shape for Life is that we offer a powerful force. And we help people shift from looking back at past failures and their negative experiences to viewing life through a clear lens. And we learn to look and to lean forward, to eye the prize of the healthy life that we want to bring about. And we learn to shift those destructive eating patterns, the Negatron negative self-talk, to eating healthfully, to moving more, to sleeping better. And soon we start feeling healthier. And in a very real sense, we become life and shape shifters. And before I share a teensy bit more of my story, I just want to remind you that this is the time of the year that people begin to appraise their life situation. Now they start thinking about some things that have been working for them and some things that they want to transform or to change about their life. Now, I need to mention this disclaimer that results vary. For weight loss on the Take Shape for Life program, is 2 to 5 pounds the first 2 weeks and 1 to 2 pounds thereafter. But I want to share with you just what kind of changes I experienced in my own 12-week, my first 12-week adventure with Take Shape for Life. Imagine we're inviting people to join us on a 12-week health transformation journey. During my first 12 weeks of Take Shape for Life, my blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol levels improved. My physician reduced some of my medications. I gave away XXXL clothing, and I slinked into XL shirts, and I shoehorned into a real life bathing suit. And you know, it was because I had support, as you were just talking about, Bill, about team support. It's so important. And for the first time in over a decade, I was in Wonderland. That's O-N-E, Wonderland. The first number in my weight was no longer a 2. It was like, holy, up and down, jumping up and down, Negatron. I weighed 199. And folks, for me, that was huge. In 12 weeks, I dropped over 6 pounds or 6 bags of dog food. That was a huge loss for me and a significant transformation, both physically, mentally, and socially. And you know, your health transformation and your business transformation can happen very rapidly. In the time between now and spring break, if you follow the protocols and stay connected with your business coach mentor, your business can transform significantly. Your health, if you follow the protocols and the quick start guide, can transform. You can shift your shape and shift your life in a transformational way. I just wanted to share with you too that, you know, when I started on my health transformation, I needed the weight loss component, but that may not be true for you or for some of your friends. And being optimally prime is much more than being at a healthy weight. Some people can be at a healthy weight and yet they're not choosing foods that will optimize their body's function. And Take Shape for Life is a comprehensive health program that includes healthy eating, healthy motion, healthy sleep, habits of a healthy mind, and habits of well-being. Most people can look back over the years and identify a time and a place in which their lives changed significantly. And whether by accident or design, these are the moments when, because of a readiness within us and maybe a collaboration with events that are going on around us, that we're forced to seriously appraise our life and our conditions and change some of the things. We make choices that will affect our lives for the rest of our lives. Change is possible. I really encourage you to put away the toys and to stop deceiving yourself. Like the Decepticon who put up his arms in surrender. The gig is up. If you could be healthy yourself, you'd have done it by now. People give up when they do it on their own. Choose to be a healthy person. Get the help and the health from your health coach. You know, we've been through the battles ourselves, and some of us are still battling. We totally need each other. We have the resources, and with your coach, you can explore your hopes, your fears, your expectations, your goals, and your plans. And I just want you to know that this is our safe community. It's the one that says, we've invited you. We welcome you into this place. We've been waiting for you, and we've saved you a seat. I want to encourage you to enroll in the 12-week health transformation just beginning this next Wednesday, January 1st. And just think you could become optimally primed too. We don't want you to miss out on having the best life and enjoying the best thing. You know, Dr. A's logo, if I can just hold this up for a minute, at the end of the word choose, you see that green sign, that green line. It looks like the heart monitor that shows a vibrant, viable life. You know, there's so many things that compete for our attention and our affection. And to assist us in combating the tyranny of the urgent is our next speaker and optimal health coach, Alex McMillan. Alex is a fitness professional from Ridgefield, Washington. He's a national spokesperson and columnist who specializes in the area of health education. And I know that you're going to really benefit by hearing what Alex has to bring with us in terms of helping us to really focus in on the things that bring about the productive things in our life and our health. Alex, thanks so much for being with us today.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Nancy. It's an absolute joy and a pleasure to be here with you all today. First off, I just want to say that, man, I've got a whole new view of what Transformers are. I love it. I'm fired up. I'm fired up to con. Woohoo! So phenomenal. Well, what I'm going to talk a little bit about today is moving from, I just couldn't help but to want to transfer this over here, from moving from being unproductive and, if you will, distracticon, to actually getting things done. You know, there's so many things going on in our lives. And if you guys are okay with this, I want to get really real with you and get a little personal. What I've found is that most people become great at things they've had to struggle through. If you think about this, the people that move us the most in life, that seem to be the most impactful in society, are the people who have had the most adversity or the most struggle or the most tragedy in some way or another. I mean, really, consider it just for a moment. I think about the things where I'm actually the most successful, the things where I feel the most connected to, are things that I've had to work for. Do you think about that? The things that I've actually had maybe victimization in, I've become the biggest victor. The things I've had the worst adversity in, I've had the biggest advantage. I really think about it as a workout for our souls, you know. And you think about this, it hurts sometimes. Being from the fitness background, I think about what it takes to get healthy and fit. When you see somebody with those abdominal muscles or those biceps that you can see in that definition, what sometimes we don't think about is all the hard work that went into getting that definition, to getting those muscles. So I want to transfer that to a moment to thinking about the people who seem the most put together, seem the most productive, and actually consider most of those people who have the best memories, are the best productivity experts, are the most successful, were exactly on the flip side of that at some point in time in their life. And something just snapped and turned them on to want to do that. And for me, my story is actually one of a lot of tragedy, and I'm not going to go fully back there with you, but I grew up in a very tough area of town. It was the projects area of northeast Portland, and there was a lot of I grew up, if there was usually fathers or guys in the neighborhood, dads, they were usually being escorted off by police officers and being taken away. A lot of single moms raising kids by themselves where I grew up. So what does that have to do with us being successful? Well, I got it somewhere in my mind. Someone planted a seed of hope in my mind that I could have, be, and do whatever I wanted to do. And I started thinking about that, and I started considering, is that possible? Could I really? What would it take to be successful in certain things? And so what I want to pose to you in this conversation is, are you having areas in your life where you want more success? You want to see more success, but you seem to be stuck. And do you need a breakthrough? And so this topic here is about being breakthrough productive in our lives. But there's two things that I found. And remember, you're talking to somebody who definitely would be considered ADHD by all diagnoses, somebody who would definitely be considered someone who's very easily distracted by so many things. Can you relate to that at all? Are there so many distractions in life today? There's so many things buzzing in our pockets, little pop-ups, things flashing in our minds constantly, taking us off course from what matters most. And so as I think about this, there's two things you have to just kind of be able to understand. And one of the first things is that we've got to learn how to punch procrastination in the face. All right, I want you to say it in your mind for a second. You want to punch procrastination in the face. If you're going to get something done, you've got to learn how to win the battle of your brains. So what is that talking about? We've got this front part of our brain called the prefrontal cortex, and it thinks logically about those things that we know we want to do or should be doing or that are important to us. I know it would be great for me to go out there and call people about this 90-day transformation challenge. I know it would be great to reach out to all those friends of mine and let them know that I've got this amazing tool in my hands, Take Shape for Life, and that I can help them with change. I know all that. I know I should be spending some time taking care of what matters most. But for some reason, there's this other part of my brain deep inside called the limbic system that is attached to what would be easiest to do, what would be the quickest thing to do, the part that basically, like checking my email, ooh, a little ding dong pops up, and so what do? We have to pick up the phone and we have to check it. My desk is looking a little unorganized right now. I'm supposed to make these calls for my power hour focus, but I think I'm gonna organize my pens here and make sure that they're all put up, and I'm gonna just make sure my desk is set correctly. Oh, you know what? This would be a good time to go take a tea break right now. I deserve it. I've been working pretty hard. And that's that limbic part of our brain. It's the easy thing, and it basically tells you you've been really busy doing a lot of different things. You need a break right now. Or maybe it's time for Candy Crush. Yeah, let's pull that out right now, and I'll play that for a little while. You know, and so it's pretty interesting when you think about it. What's going on? There's the battle of your brains, and so we need to learn how to turn off that monkey mind that's constantly running and focus on what matters most. And so how do we go about doing that? Well, the first thing is we have to understand a couple lies that are out there. And one of the biggest lies that are out there is that multitasking is actually productive. When in fact, what we know now through neuroscience and research, and let your own life prove it, that multitasking actually takes more than double the amount of time, if not a lot more time, to actually multitask. Let me explain this just for a moment. If for some of you who want to really get interactive here just for a second, I challenge you to get out a piece of paper right now. And on this piece of paper, we're going to see who's got their notes. I'd like you to draw a line in the middle of that piece of paper. And if you look at mine, you can see 3 lines there. And at the top, I want you to draw a line up above that and a line below that. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically prove that multitasking is, basically multitasking is a lie, is what we're going to look at. We're going to look at basically proving that multitasking is one of the biggest lies. So the first thing is we're going to have you at the top of the page, we're going to have you, don't do this just yet, but we're going to have you type out, we're going to have you write out multitasking is a lie. Okay? And then I'm going to have you write underneath that the numbers 1 through 27. So you'll write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. But we're just going to wait just a second. So you've got that multitasking is a lie. And then what you're going to write out is the numbers 1 through 27 underneath it. And I'm going to time you for 30 seconds, and we're going to see how fast you can get that done. So the first thing is you're going to write multitasking is a lie, and then underneath you're going to write numbers 1 through 27. Got it? And I'm going to give you 30 seconds to do that. Ready, set, go. Ten seconds left. And time. Stop wherever you're at. You got it done, Craig?
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have you stop just for a moment, and we're going to actually have you do some multitasking. Now, first off, understand that you actually don't really multitask when you work between 2 projects. What you actually do is what's called switch tasking. And what switch tasking is where your brain is focused on one thing, and then you switch and you focus on another thing, and then you switch back and you focus on something else. And we're going to uncover a little bit about why this is so unproductive. But the first thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to attempt to, if you will, multitask or switch task. Instead of just writing out multitasking is a lie and then the numbers 1 through 27, on the line below this line, so you've got this line here, on this line here, what you're going to do in the top is you're going to write the letter M, and then you're going to write the number 1. Then you're going to write the letter U on the top of that, and you're going to write the number 2 underneath it. Then you're going to write the letter L, and then you're going to write the number 3. You see that? You're going to go back and forth, okay? And you're going to write that out, and we're going to time that, and we're going to have you basically switch task or multitask. All right. So if you didn't quite figure that out, we'll explain it here in just a moment. Okay, so just a second here. Ready, set, go. And I'm going to give you some extra time on this one here. $15 seconds down. And for those of you who are not doing this, because we're on video, I'm watching those of you fall asleep and pull out your phones and multitask while we do this. Over 30 seconds now. You guys are still writing. What's going on? We're at 40 seconds. Did you get it done, Bill? You got it, man. He's a ripster. 50 seconds. Some people are still writing. Oh my goodness. 60 seconds. All right, we almost done? Betsy, come on. I see you out there. Go. 1 minute. Stop. Okay. So what we want to take a look at are the 3 big problems with multitasking that happen. Okay. One of the first things about multitasking is that it takes longer. How many of you noticed that it took you a lot longer to be able to write that out? Yeah, I see a lot of hands coming up. I see a lot of people going, yeah. The second thing, and it's basically the same amount of length there. The second thing is, how many of you noticed that you made more mistakes, like as far as like the quality of your work decreased, the quality of your writing? All right, yeah. And how many of you noticed your stress level go up when you were trying to get those 2 things done? Stress, the anxiety started to build. And what that's about is that your brain is trying to do 2 different things at one time, and it can't. It has to switch between one way of thinking and another way of thinking, and that causes our blood pressure, it causes our stress to go up, all those anxiety things. So we can see that we're not as effective. But the biggest problem that we find with multitasking, and I want you to imagine this for a moment. I want you to imagine that you're with somebody, a friend of yours, and you're with somebody that you care about, and all of a sudden, you're having a conversation, you're telling them something important, and they're all of a sudden looking down at their phone, texting on, yep, yep. How does that make you feel when you're with somebody, you're trying to tell them something, but they're somewhere else, and they're just yapping you, yep. So what we have to start looking at is taking our control back, taking our mind back, and getting ourselves focused on what really matters most to us. Understanding that these things that we've been taught to do, these things we're distracted by, are truly taking our ability away to truly connect with another person. If the most important thing I could get across in this little time I've had to share with you is it's not just about multitasking being one of the greatest lies. And it's not to say that we don't have to do a couple things at times, but learning how to focus on what matters most. Learning how to be with someone else and how to connect with them. After all, isn't that what Take Shape for Life is all about? Isn't that what you're really all about? Well, thank you all so much for sharing this day with me. I really appreciate this time.
Awesome, Alex. That was awesome. You know, it's funny when in situations like that, because I get in situations like that a lot, and they'll be doing the and I'll just stop talking like mid-sentence and just let it be silent. And they're like, it feels really weird. And they're like, they look up like, what's going on here? Did I miss something? Did you ask me a question? You're waiting for me to answer? And so that's one thing that they go, no, I'm listening. And I go, no, you're not. So anyway, that's one tool that I've used when that happens and I'm in a conversation. And
yeah, Craig's actually talking about our conversations. So like I said, sometimes the places where you become the greatest are places that you've personally had to suffer a lot of pain.
I mean, when you're telling me the story, I'm thinking, wow, Alex, it's so great that you've, because we've had this conversation and you do that thing and you're so much more aware of it now. And I loved what you just presented for us. So thank you so much. And so awesome. I hope you guys are enjoying what we're talking about today. And this format, we've got a couple more topics left. But this has been a kind of a new thing for us. And so I want to make sure that we're not rushing things and you guys are getting what you need and you're enjoying basically being part of this national training in the comfort of your own home. And so my topic today is actually going to be focusing us a little bit on where we're at in the year. The time between Christmas and New Year's Day is unlike any other time of the year. For me, kind of an analogy I'd like for you to think about in your mind is let's pretend that we all saw a movie on Christmas Day. We all went to the same theater, or well, didn't we have to go to the same theater, but we all saw the same exact movie, right? And so for the next like 3 to 5 days, it was a great movie. Let's say it was The Hobbit, or something awesome, right? And so we have this movie in our minds and we're thinking about our favorite parts. We're thinking about the characters and are they going to come out with a sequel? And so there's this idea in our minds where we're really just sharing a common thought or feeling. And believe it or not, that's exactly what's happening with America. 90% of Americans are contemplating three to four of the same things, and they all have to do with self-improvement. And some of those areas are financially. They're thinking about their job. They're thinking about what they might want to do next year, promotion, maybe a change in line of work. Maybe you're out of work and you're hoping to get a job. Actually, that's what I'd like to say is there's a bunch of hope for the future because we're just about to embark on a new year and we're hoping will 2014, is it going to be better than 2013? And so maybe our finances, maybe there's relationships in our lives that are super important to us that we're hoping are going to improve. They're going to get closer. They're going to get better. Maybe we're going to rekindle a relationship that we had with somebody that we're disconnected from. A lot of times it's our physical bodies. We're always thinking about, running that marathon or being able to fit in that size dress or, starting an exercise program. Who knows what it might be? Maybe it's many times it starts with, I look in the mirror and I realize that I'm taking up more of the mirror than I would like to. And so I want to work on that. I don't know what it might be for you, but I think the theme that that's in our minds is akin to that great movie that we saw. And so we have this warm feeling and the conversations happening. And so what I want to impart with you is that whether you're a coach or whether you're a client or whether you're on this call for the first time and you're just sort of checking out, what is this crazy bunch of healthy people I keep reading about and seeing stuff on Facebook, right? And so you've come in and you've checked it out. And so think about, you have an opportunity to be a blessing to somebody and to be part of their story. And maybe that's just smiling. Maybe that's going back and opening the door and telling somebody that you care about and that you Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, those kinds of things. Some of the things that I'll do with people is ask them, do they have any goals for 2014? Is there something that they want to accomplish? Maybe something they want to achieve, something on their bucket list. And it's a great way to engage someone in a meaningful conversation about their life. And I want you to know that, and I hope that you just have to trust me on it. We all saw the same movie, and we're all thinking about hope for the next year. And so when we engage in that conversation, we can be part of someone's experience. And what I love most about it is that previous to Take Shape for Life, I may have had something to offer a few people. I could offer them a smile. I could offer them friendship. I could offer them some encouragement. But if someone said, I want to learn to live a healthy lifestyle and I'm really struggling, boy, I would say, yeah, me too. I mean, what are we going to do? I didn't have an answer to that question. And if you're a coach, or even if you're a client, you have so much hope literally in your hands. And it's not pie in the sky hope. It's practical. It's real. It involves relationship. It involves community. It involves all these things that are so relevant to where we actually live, the real side of us. And so as you're thinking about that, I want to encourage you as you, maybe this is a new change of perspective of you, that you've got something super powerful with the ability to practically come alongside somebody and say, hey, if this is something you want, maybe we can get closer to that together. And you can partner up. If you're just a client, you can partner up with somebody and say, hey, join me on this health transformation. Or if you're part of a 28-day challenge, join me and be on my team. I'm building a team of people that want to get healthy. Do you want to be on my team? Whatever that might look like. Maybe you start walking with somebody. But I just want to really to think about the reality of Take Shape for Life it's a bit different than anything I've ever experienced. And when I think about what Take Shape for Life is, I see ingredients that are part of lots of things that I like. But the unique way that they've been sort of baked together with Take Shape for Life tastes like nothing I've ever experienced. And I like the way it tastes. And what I like about the best ingredient is what I'm getting a little bit emotional, but when I see 25 faces right here, you're part of the ingredients. And that's the best part of this, because every time we have some new crazy person join us, you become a new tweak on the flavor that we have and that we offer. And it's so unique and it's so amazing. And as we get to know each other, this becomes better, right? And so anyway, I just wanted to encourage you with that you really do have something that's important. And just like the video that we showed at the very beginning, this person was lonely and they thought, I want to rent a family for $8. I mean, I'm thinking $8. Wow. What is that really worth? I mean, that's priceless. And then what she created by creating the people with the need with the people with the have, and actually, believe it or not, you can swap those roles. The people that had community to give needed a place to give it. And the people with community where they needed community had the ability to offer the people that had it to give. So basically that didn't work unless you had both sides. One of my mentors, JC Dornick, we were at a leadership training in Utah, Sundance, Utah. And he asked me this really cool question. He said, is it better to give or receive? And I said, because of my background and what we've all been trained on, oh, it's better to give. And he said, really? And I said, well, I was, trying to get the answer right. That's obviously that's the answer he's looking for. And he said, what if we all were givers and none of us were receivers? Who would we give to? Man, it's just like, ugh, my brain just went, all of a sudden it just grew. Like, what just happened? Wait a minute. And so I just never thought about it like that. But it's good to give and receive. And have you ever tried to give somebody something out of maybe your abundance and they're like, oh, no. And it's like, so you have to have both. And so we have a bunch of people in our lives that need to receive and need to give. And together, as we build this community and we connect with each other, specifically this time of year is unlike any other time of the year, where people are more hopeful that the future is going to get better. And as you interact with them and you engage with them and you share highlights from the movie that you're all thinking about, possibly you can join together and really connect with those people. And so I want to just encourage you, relate, connect, Facebook, chat with people you haven't chatted with in a while and just ask them how their Christmas was, and just be a friend, reach out, go to events when you're at your, make sure you all accept invitations to go to some type of New Year's Eve party, and go there and just get in people's faces and ask them how they're doing and really connect, because that's the most powerful thing we have, is being able to connect with people and care about those people. And so I'm going to show a little video now, which really inspired me. And then after the video, I'm going to hand it over to Tim Cox, who's one of my biggest mentors. And the reason why we call these trainings the heart of a Take Shape for Life coach is hopefully you're seeing how what we've baked together here is unlike anything out there. And one of the reasons is because of you, because of the ingredients that all you guys bring. So let me share my screen here, and then after the video, we're going to have Tim. He'll be up next.
There will never be a point in your life where it's the right time to do a great thing. If you're waiting for that perfect moment, that perfect timing, it's not going to happen. You know what you have to do? You have to create the perfect time and the perfect opportunity and the perfect situation.
So that a lot of people become comfortable. They stop growing. They stop wanting anything. They become satisfied. People getting ready to go to jobs that they don't like. Jobs that are making them sick. You see, when you're not pursuing your goal, you are literally committing spiritual suicide. When you have some goal out here that you're stretching for and reaching for that takes you out of your comfort zone, you'll find out some talents and abilities you have that you didn't know you have. When the messenger of misery visits you, what are you going to do? What will keep you in the game?
There are things that you think you'll never need to know, that you may only need to know one time in your life, but that could save your life because you had that knowledge.
Unless you attempt to do something beyond that which you've already mastered, you will never grow. What is it that you looked at some point in time and you decided that you couldn't do it, that you talked yourself out of it?
You're waiting on your next door neighbor to make it happen for you, it may not happen. If you're waiting on your mother or your father, they may be so ancient in their thinking that they don't understand this opportunity that you have. And if you're waiting on them, it may never get done. You don't beg average people to be phenomenal. You don't beg good people to be phenomenal. You just are phenomenal, and you will attract phenomenal.
What reason can you remember that you can call on, that you can reach on, that can make you get back up? Find that reason.
If you're not where you are, if you're not where you want to be, if you don't have what you want to have, if you're not where you think you should be at this particular place, it has nothing to do with the system, but it has everything to do with the fact that you're not making the sacrifice. I want you to make that dream become a reality, because if you don't, you will be working for somebody else to make their dreams become a reality.
Everybody is against you or don't believe in you no more. And let me tell you something, that's a lonely feeling. It's a lonely feeling, particularly people that you're doing it for. Most people take their greatness, take their ideas to the graveyard with them.
Listen to me. If it was easy, everybody would do it. There are people right now who are working who don't want to work. There are people who hate their jobs, but they keep getting up to do it.
The wealthiest place on the planet is the graveyard. Because in the graveyard, we will find inventions that we never, ever were exposed to. Ideas, dreams that never became reality. Hopes and aspirations that were never acted upon.
Question is, what are you going to do with your time? What drives you? And greatness is a lot of small things done well. Day after day, workout after workout, obedience after obedience, day after day.
When things don't work out for you, when things happen that you could not anticipate, what are the reasons that you can think of that can keep you strong?
You will never, ever be successful until you turn your pain into greatness, until you allow your pain to push you from where you are to push you to where you need to be. Stop running from your pain and embrace your pain. Your pain is going to be a part of your prize, a part of your product. I challenge you to push yourself.
See, it's easy to be on the bottom. It doesn't take any effort to be a loser. It doesn't take any motivation, any drive in order to stay down there on a low level. But it calls on everything in you. You have to harness your will to say, I'm going to challenge myself.
I mean that what you did last week don't count. Today is the only important day. There are 86,400 seconds in a day, and how you use those are critical. You got 86,400 today, and what you do today is going to cement who you are. Nobody's going to talk about what you did last week.
That the biggest enemy you have to deal with is yourself. There's an old African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm.
You have this opportunity of a lifetime. It means absolutely nothing if you don't take advantage of it in the lifetime of this opportunity.
I got a saying that when life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and your sleep for it. If all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it. See, it's time now. If you want to make this your decade, you've got to start saying yes to your life. You've got to start saying yes to your dreams, yes to your unfolding future, yes to your potential, as opposed to saying no.
When you die on E. Leave no dream left behind, guys. Leave no opportunity left behind. When you leave this earth, accomplish every single thing you can accomplish. Listen to me, you're going to be here one day, but you'll never get here if you give up, if you give in, if you quit. And finally, guys, you got to want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe.
So let me unmute Tim here. Let's see here. So anyway, thank you guys. Actually, I think he's unmuted already. So thank you guys for this, and I'd like to introduce Tim Cox. He's a guy that's come from an industry. He had a coffee shop where he focused on food, music, and art. He's one of the leaders in Take Shape for Life that leads with his heart, and I know you guys will know what I'm talking about if you've spent any time at all with Tim. So to close us out, I'd like to welcome Tim Cox.
Thank you so much, Alex. You know, I'm totally amazed at how the time has flown today. I don't know if anybody feels like I do, but don't you feel a little bit energized right now? And isn't something speaking to your heart a little bit, your mind connecting with your heart, and really this sense that something's going to happen, something's awakened inside of all of us. And, you know, thank you so much for spending the time that you have today with us. I'd like to thank all the presenters. You know, I used to say something when working with children. I taught for a lot of years, and I used to say that there's a wonderful thing happening in teaching, that the student opens their heart and the teacher takes from their life and their heart and they pour it in, and the student accepts it. And that's a wonderful transfer of information. It's a wonderful human element and interaction. And I think that's what we're doing today. But just to kind of wrap a little thought around this, have you ever asked yourself, I don't know? My goodness, I've gotten so much information today. I don't know. I don't know what to do. What do I do next? Or, you know what, I'm too busy. I don't know how I'm going to talk to people. I don't know where the people are coming from. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know. And I think every time we say that to ourselves, it adds another brick to a prison, and we kind of wall ourselves in. And in effect, once we do that enough, we really don't know. Even if we had all the tools and the help, we really don't know what to do. And I just want to give you a little idea that, what if instead of saying every time that thought comes into your mind, I don't know, what if you said, well, what if I did know? What would it be like if I did know? You know, I don't know where the people are going to come from. Well, what if I did know? How would that look like? I don't know what I'm going to say. Well, what if you did know? How would that look like? And I think the power in that is that it just kind of breaks down those limitations and those walls we have. You know, if you really look inside yourself, there is a wealth of information, a wealth of ability to communicate, tremendous power that you can use to activate your life. And if you've noticed that the speakers today were so diverse, so unique, and yet we have a common thread, a common voice, and that is the part that resonates with other people. When you share Take Shape for Life, it's really connecting and listening to their lives. And I just practice that a little bit. Instead of saying, I don't know, what if I did know? And you know what you'll find is that your brain will shift, your heart will shift, your communication, your time spent will shift, and it won't be, I don't know anymore. It'll always be, well, I'm not quite sure about this, but what if I did know? And you're starting to take action, and things are starting to build. Don't box yourself in a corner with that. I think we can all relate to that. I don't know about you. I've said I don't know so many times, but when you shift this little bit and you take action, magical things start happening. When I think about the relationships I have with all the people that we're speaking today, and I see this vibrant community that's really empowering people, you're a part of that. And we're going to do great things together. We're going to do hard things together. Our life is going to light up together. And, you know, we're going to stand together. And what I would really love you to do after this call is Craig's going to open it up and talk a little bit about, we're going to answer some questions. But also, I would love you to connect with your support team. We're all here to help you. We're all here to work together and work it out together. So what I would love is that, you know, you would take a moment now with all your notes. I've got notes and things. I'm so excited of what I've learned today. And really just connect with your support team. Get together. Have a little conversation and kind of work it out so that we can come out of the gates running for 2014. And thank you, Craig, so much for hosting today. Thank you all. This is going to be on a video so we can share it. And this is going to be a fantastic 2014.
Thanks, Tim. So just a few details here. We're finished, so you're welcome to take off and enjoy your day. You're welcome to hang around. I'm going to unmute the microphones,